As many of you know, I've spent some time down on the border. I've actually been going down there for about 10 years as I've put the focus on making certain this nation stays safe and secure. I've always been so impressed with the commitment from our Border Patrol. And today we have the spokesperson for the Border Patrol, Chris Cabrera, getting tongue-tied on the name. And Chris is absolutely one of the most well-informed people about what is going on the border, as he is down there working every single day. So Chris, I so enjoyed my time with you, and I am so grateful to you for the information that you were able to pass along to me, and the places you were able to show me when I was on the border last month. So first of all, thank you for joining us. And secondly, if you could tell us what you are seeing and hearing on the border, that would be fantastic.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things we're seeing, which obviously makes a lot of news, is people that are coming and turning themselves in. We have huge numbers of people that are coming and turning themselves in. A couple hundred a day just in one station alone, thousands along the southwest border daily. And then we have people that are trying to avoid detection, some of which we catch and many of which we don't catch because we're tied up with those that are turning themselves in. And not to mention the drugs that are coming across, which we don't always catch because, again, we're tied up. And we're seeing a lot of people coming over with medical conditions, whether it's COVID, some type of flu symptoms, chronic illnesses. We had a guy yesterday that had a history of seizures. Last week, one of the guys I work with delivered another baby, which was his fourth one in 6 months, right there on the river. So we're seeing that it's just a daily occurrence. Not to mention, every now and then we have somebody that ultimately succumbs to either a heat-related injury or some type of illness and doesn't make it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found to be so interesting is the way that the Biden border policies are being perceived, not only by people in the Northern Triangle, but people from all across the globe who are trying to come here illegally. And they're looking at the change from the Trump policy to the Biden policy, and they're saying, now might be our time. So this open border policy that Biden has, what kind of message does that send around the globe?
News travels fast, and I think the biggest misconception people have is that it's just Central Americans, maybe some South Americans mixed in there, which makes up a great deal of what we catch. But we also, obviously, we've seen a lot of news with the Haitians that are coming over. We've seen people recently from the Congo, from Romania is pretty common, China, India, Sri Lanka. So we get them from all over the world, and they know that when they get here, everything's going to be relaxed for them. They're going to be allowed to come in. It's much easier to come in illegally than it is coming in legally. So people are going to take advantage of that. And with some of the rhetoric that gets put out there, whether it's actually in play or not, people take that as the rule of law, and they're going to come in and take advantage of the system.
Yeah, and I would think that the news that is spreading about Biden's administration negotiating with those that were briefly separated at the border and the $450,000 per person payout, I would think that is probably having an adverse impact.
Yes, people hear that, obviously nothing's set in stone yet. Nobody knows what's going to happen with that. But the word is out there and people are hearing that, and they're interpreting it as they're going to get some type of reward for coming here. So it's going to mobilize people, and the smugglers, they're no dummies. They're going to use that as a marketing strategy to get more people to cross, and more people will try and take advantage of it. And on top of that, it's just absurd to get paid $450,000. To get paid anything for crossing the country, crossing our borders illegally is absurd. And not to mention $500,000. That's just insane.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Tennesseans are pretty upset about that one when they heard about it. And one of the things that we have asked, and no one seems to know, maybe you know, is what legal authority are they using to actually make this settlement and make these payments?
I don't know if there is any legal authority. I think on top of that, there is no common sense aspect to it. It's just absurd that somebody can come in our country illegally and be rewarded and overnight be a millionaire for crossing illegally. Meanwhile, we're paying high gas prices. We're having shortages of different necessities. It's a daily life. Inflation is through the roof, and we're gonna start importing people and making them millionaires from the get-go, while regular Americans are struggling. And it's ridiculous. Especially, I know in Tennessee, it's a big military community, just like Texas is. It's a highly patriotic and military community, and for they don't get paid a lot. I know I was in the service. It's not, you're not going in the service to get rich. You're going there because you feel a certain way about your country. You don't do it for the money. But at the same time, somebody can come in illegally and get $450,000 when a lot of us will never see anywhere near that.
Right, you're exactly right. And I think that's one of the reasons that it is so frustrating to people. When I was out on the border with you all, we talked about the gotaways, which are those that you don't catch. And as you told me then, those are a lot of the really bad actors, and they're trying to evade capture. And they're bringing in guns and drugs and gangs and labor crews, things of that nature. A lot of your traffickers fit in that. But then also the ones that are apprehended, then they are being transported to communities all across the country. This is why the combination of those gotaways and the people that are being moved into communities is why every town's a border town and every state is a border state right now. But this policy of rapidly processing people and then sending them without notification to the community, this is something that has been of tremendous concern to a lot of our mayors in counties and towns. Talk just a little bit about that policy and why the Biden administration is doing that.
Well, first off, the got-away numbers, I think they have them at 400,000, which may seem like a lot, but in reality, that's a fantasy. There's no way we're anywhere near that low of a number. That number is at least twice, if not three times that number. There's a huge number of gotaways. Unfortunately, there's nobody out there to see them, and to move things and to move people in the middle of the night all over the country. When you're doing stuff without telling anybody, without letting anybody know, there's something wrong. There's something sneaky going on there. And that's exactly what they're doing. They don't want people to know where they're moving them, how they're moving them, if they've been checked, if they've been vetted, whether their backgrounds have been vetted, not to mention their health screening. And people wonder why we're having so many different variants of COVID. Well, it's coming from all over the world. Same with the flu. We can get vaccinated to what we have here, but if we have other variants coming in from other countries, obviously we're going to have outbreaks, even though we've been vaccinated, because it's a variant. That's what we're seeing. The other part is the people that we're sending. One, it's the infrastructure that's in place for the communities that are there. It's not designed to have an extra couple thousand people coming in every few weeks. I mean, that's just not how things are done here. The other thing is we don't know what they're bringing, who they're bringing with them. We can't tell what their criminal history is from their home country. We just know what's happened in this country. And so who is moving next door? Do you have some type of sex offender? Do you have somebody with some chronic tuberculosis that may be spreaded towards you? And believe it or not, it may seem far-fetched, but all those things have happened. We've had, crazy medical cases we've seen down here. The interesting part is they don't stay down here. Most people, 99%, don't stay in this area. They go to other parts of the country, like Tennessee, like New York or Kansas or anywhere.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. And I think that border policy, not having remain in Mexico, exercising catch and release, not utilizing Title 42, all of that will make the health issues that much worse. So we're watching that very closely, and for the benefit and safety of our Border Patrol agents and for our communities, we think that remain in Mexico and exercising Title 42 are a really good thing.
Yes, it is a very good thing. We need to be very cautious of who we let into our country. Obviously, not everybody coming in is a bad person, but if the first thing you do in our country is illegal, that's not a good way to start off. And we need hardworking people in this country, but we don't need to import any bad actors. We have enough that are homegrown. We don't need to import any.
That's right.
And once we seal this border off, secure what we have, then they can start looking at comprehensive immigration reform. But the first thing that needs to happen is we need to secure this border from end to end, find out what we have, and then come up with a solution, not the back way around.
That's right. Build that wall. And being on the border, you see why having that wall would be so vitally important to protect our nation, to stop some of the traffic coming in, to protect private property from so many of the ranchers and farmers that are there. Well, Chris, thank you. I know many of you that are watching today are going to want to find out more. You can find more information about Chris, NBPC, National Border Patrol Council, NBPC_Cabrera at the National Border Patrol Council. Chris, thank you for hosting me on the border, for working with me to not only protect Tennesseans, but to protect this great nation. And thank you for the sacrifice that you make every day to defend our country.
And Senator Blackburn, I just want to say thank you for getting our voice out there. I mean,
Sure.
We need somebody out there that's going to come down and see what we see and tell people about it. And there's no bigger audience than what you bring to the table. And we appreciate you hearing our story, everything you've done for us. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, you just say the word, and we look forward to seeing you again down here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm humbled to be able to support you all and to work with you. And to everyone watching Unmuted, thank you for joining us.